Hello guys, today we're going to take a look at the Arturia KeyLab 61 MK2. So let's get started. First I'm going to show you how to set it up so it works with Ableton Live. I'm using 9 Lite, the included version with controller. So first plug the USB in, turn it on. Then you need to hold the DAW button until it flashes. When it flashes, you need to choose Ableton Live on the screen. And then just press the center knob. Now the keyboard is ready to use with Ableton Live, but you also need to set up Ableton Live to work with controller. Go to Options and Preferences. Select Link MIDI and then Control Surface. Select the KeyLab MK2. If you do not have the KeyLab MK2 in your list, that means you do not have the latest version of Ableton Live and you need to update your Ableton Live to the latest version. Live 9 works, Live 10 works, but only with the latest version, so it doesn't matter. Then select KeyLab MK2 61 port 2 on both of the ones here. This will make sure that when you are using the controls on the top here, all the way, all the faders and everything, you are actually sending. It's actually working and not just sending notes. If you do not do this, when you press different buttons, it will just play sounds and not actually do anything. So it's a really important step. Okay, so let's take a look at the keypad. When it comes to the keypad, it's just all about preferences. What you think feels nice and what you don't think feels nice and what you do not like. Personally, I think that this keyboard is good considering it's what it costs. It's not too expensive, like 4.99 euros is in the keyboard / piano world. It's a pretty decent price. It's pricey for being a MIDI controller, but you can easily get away with up to like 3,000-4,000 euros with keyboards. Even more if you considering like grand pianos and so on. Way more. The keyboard is not hammer action. It is like springs. It feels like pressing springs. Let me show you what it looks like. That is a key press. The resistance is not changing throughout the press. It's evenly hard all the way through. Really typical for just a spring pushing it up. No hammer or anything that is tipping over. When you press it fully down, it stops right here, but you can force it even further and it's way harder, but it's still kind of soft, and that is the aftertouch and it's meant to be that way. The keys can move a little bit to the side, like this. Also the black ones can do that. That is, at first I thought that it felt a little bit not so nice that they could move, but as a second opinion I think it's kind of good, because if you're sliding, you are usually, especially with the black keys, you are grabbing them a little bit as you slide, and because they are able to move, they won't break. So that's pretty good actually. Something that is good to know is that the keys are a little bit bouncy. It is really common with spring keyboards. Only way to get rid of it is to buy a really expensive like hammer action piano or grand piano. I have tried pianos and grand pianos for up to 5,000 euros and they bounce. So it's really common, but I want to show you it anyway. So here's what it looks like. You can see the bounce on the end. It doesn't stop right away before it stops, and here is the sound. It's not too bad, but it's good to know. The keys on the underside are metal, so they are strong. The top is plastic. The key's velocity curve is really sensitive. You can play very, very soft or very loud. The modern pitch wheel on this keyboard is really nice. It is made out of some sort of metal. I would guess it's aluminum. The pitch wheel has a spring to it, so it springs back, and it does not bounce, it just stays in the middle when you release it. It also makes a sound from it when you release it, and this is how it sounds. You should also note that some of the sound is from my finger sliding in the grooves, so it's not a completely fair sound test. The mod wheel does not have a spring. It is very, very soft to move. It feels extremely nice. And it stops against metal, so the stop is really, you know when it's fully maximum or fully minimum. And this is the sound it makes when it stops. Really nice modern pitch wheel. Best I have ever tried. Just above the pitch and mod wheel we have the chord, transpose and the octave minus and plus keys. They are used for, because this is only a 61 keyboard and a full piano is 88 keys, you can use those two buttons to move up or down the keyboard and get to those extra notes if you want to. Next to that we have the setting buttons for the pads. We have the pad mode, the chord memory and the chord transpose button. The pad mode does a little bit different things depending on if you're in analog lab mode or DAW mode. I will show you more about that later. We also have the MIDI channel button that is used for changing what MIDI channel you are sending on. The performance pads are really nice. They are not as hard as, for example, the Pioneer performance pads on their more expensive controllers, like the DJI SR or SX. They are a little bit, they actually are pressed down, but they are not pressed down very much. I really like them. The LED light is also adapting depending on how hard you are pressing. So for example, if I just press really loose, it is just glowing, but if I press harder, it is more and more becoming brighter. And if I hit it, it's also lighting up depending on how hard I'm hitting. The color can be changed in MIDI Control Center. You can download it from Arturia's website. You can change it between like 16 different colors. I will show you right now on the screen. These are the colors that are supported on the performance pads. In theory, it should be possible to get any color since it is RGB pads, but the software does not support any more than these. But I think this should be more than enough actually. If we move just a little bit further down, we can see the transport controls and also the DAW commands. The DAW commands for Ableton Live is solo track, mute track, record. This is arming the track for recording. You also got arm automation and re-enable automation, view that changes between session view and the arrangement view. You got punch in and punch out, metronome that is activated as soon as you hit record. You also got the undo button, really useful. Then we have the move backwards on the timeline in arrangement view and move backwards, forward. Stop button, play and pause, record, and loop, activate and deactivate loop. This strip right here is magnetic, and it can be easily removed and switched to different software depending on what you're using. On this side it's Cubase, and on this side it is Ableton Live. It is also possible, even if it's not recommended, to remove the plastic from it. As you can see, this is more of a not so glancy. This is glancy, reflects light very well. You can grab the corner and remove the plastic so it looks like this. I think it's a little bit nicer, but be careful so you do not damage it. Right here you can change between analog lab mode, DAW mode and user mode. They are quite different and important to keep track of. In analog lab mode you can use the performance pads to play samples and instruments. However, in DAW mode the performance pads are triggering things from session view. If you are in DAW mode you can use the faders to control the volume of different tracks, changing the mod wheel for example, or going to analog lab mode, hitting a button, you can see what note it is sending. If you have a problem with the keyboard making sounds when you're fading the faders, maybe turning these, that is because you have not set up Ableton Live correctly. Just go to MIDI from and then choose KeyLab MKII61. The faders are used for track volume, the knobs are used for panning. The faders on this unit is silk smooth. There is little to no resistance. It just runs so smooth and evenly. There is it doesn't get stuck anywhere or anything. It's just really nice. The knobs are infinity. You can turn them how much you want. There is no limit in any direction, and they also feel really soft and really nice.